Christianic CYInterview covering Las Vegas and the world. Today we welcome back Roman Gabriel III. He is the president of the Sold Out You Foundation. We are here to talk about his fentanyl prevention program becoming part of the schools here in Clark County in Las Vegas. Roman, thanks so much for being back with us on CYInterview today. How are you, sir?
Chris, great to be back with you, and thank you for your interest as we continue to move forward to help Las Vegas students and their parents.
You're welcome, Roman. And also we're joined today by Pastor Troy Martinez. He is the founder of Dads in Schools. Troy, thanks for being here today.
Thanks. Good for having me.
And finally, Kevin of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration's Las Vegas District Office is here. Kevin, thanks so much for making time today, sir.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Okay, so guys, just to begin, Roman, why don't you just take us through why we're all here today?
Well, when we got together before the Super Bowl, and of course it was a very successful Super Bowl week, working with Dads in Schools and Troy Martinez and working with Kevin Adams through our fentanyl campaign that ended at the Virgin Hotels Las Vegas for a very important fundraiser and awareness program to bring high-profile people from law enforcement, education, as well as celebrity and sports for Super Bowl week to bring a highlight onto the crisis that is fentanyl. That's the number one killer of our teenagers in our country today and the number one killer of 18 to 45-year-olds. So we were very successful during that week of having the opportunity through Dads in Schools, an incredible mentoring program that works in Clark County schools, and the opportunity to go into the schools and to speak about fentanyl to Clark County students, as well as a football camp that we did at Charlie Frias Park for, I believe, 170 middle school and high school students in conjunction with law enforcement and Parks and Rec in Las Vegas. So we were able to accomplish, Chris, what we wanted, which was the opportunity to bring together difference makers in Clark County to take on this fentanyl issue. And of course, you know from talking to me that we have the only college accredited public school program for fentanyl in 6 states currently, and we have the opportunity just this fast after Super Bowl, because of the work of Troy Martinez and Dads in Schools in Clark County schools and people like Kevin Adams and the Sheriff's Department and narcotics and the FBI and others that are working together to try to stop this terrible crisis and to educate, which is really the only thing that we have to do solution-wise for the long term right now, because the border remains open, and as long as that is happening, there's going to be hundreds of thousands of pounds of fentanyl already in the country that could kill people 2 times over. So even if we close the border today, we still have a serious problem of education, and that's what our program does, is it uses the school's dissemination system to educate parents, students, and administration and staff to the dangers of fentanyl, but also to start this very important conversation and to get the information out through a platform that's online that provides research information and works in conjunction with law enforcement and with public safety officers to do everything that we can to get the information out to so that parents can make good decisions for themselves, their families, and their students. So we have an incredible opportunity to get into 146 Clark County schools through Dads in Schools, who has an ongoing relationship for public safety for children and students and works with rehabilitation and prevention and law enforcement. And of course, I'm excited to have Kevin Adams back with us, because he's going to give us a great feel for what the conditions are with the fentanyl issue in the community of Clark County. So we're here with your audience to let them know that what we promised when we came to you initially is that we wanted to help as many students and schools as possible, and we have that opportunity now, and we're excited to be able to share that with you today.
Troy, how do you see Dads in Schools merging with Roman's fentanyl program?
So Dads in Schools, we're in 146 schools. We're talking about, hundreds of thousands of students, and we need to remember there's 40,000 staff that are taking care of our children every single day, 5 days a week. So it's a small city, literally. And so it is a microcosm of our society, and everything Roman just described, the fentanyl and other violence and crime that comes because of drugs, and especially something like fentanyl that's laced into other drugs. We have to make sure that our volunteers are educated, that they understand that many of the parents don't understand this issue. They don't know how violent the cartels are. They don't understand. They just send their kids to school. So, in Clark County School District, we've been asked by 146 of the 300 plus schools to be a presence literally on campus. So we have volunteers, men and women, that take FBI background checks. They get active shooter training. They get some de-escalation trainings. But we're also realizing that they need to understand these harmful effects of drugs, specifically drugs that are laced with fentanyl. And so without educating our guys and girls and having the parents included, we're going to be behind the curve. So it is a great pleasure to be able to work with guys like Roman that are on the front lines, with, our DEA, Kevin Adams, that I heard so eloquently put it into perspective at the Virgin Hotel just during the Super Bowl week. And there's such an opportunity to not recreate the wheel, but join forces and get this done as fast as possible, save lives, and make sure that, like our mission says, prevention through presence, literally on school campus.
Kevin, can you just give us kind of a breakdown of where we are with the challenges of fentanyl and today's youth and drug issues here in Las Vegas?
Well, unfortunately, the situation is that it's getting worse. If you look at 2023, we've had, in Clark County, we had 579 overdoses in relation to fentanyl. That's a 195% increase from 2022. We've also seen the street value, the street purchase cost of fentanyl dropping, which is primarily with the cost of these M30 counterfeit oxycodone pills. By the street cost dropping, that means there's a higher quantity on the street. And so we realize that we can't arrest our way out of this situation. So we have to use a multi-pronged approach, which would be the outreach, which would be the education, getting into the schools and letting the students know the threat that they are facing, that this is not a situation where you can experiment and maybe become addicted and recover. This leads to death, right? We can't recover from death, and we have to realize how serious the threat is. Additionally, on social media platforms, there's a crisis with the social media platforms where drug distributors are utilizing social media to get in contact with these adolescents as well. And so that's what we're facing right now. And on a bigger picture, from a DEA standpoint and on a whole of government standpoint, we understand that the precursor chemicals are coming from China. They're going to Mexico and utilized by the drug cartels, the Sinaloa cartel, by CJNG, and these clandestine labs to manufacture these counterfeit pills. And so we know that that's where we're attacking on a broader spectrum, but on a local spectrum, the local distributors, we need to attack those people and charge them severely, and charge them with distributing a controlled substance that results in death, to hit them with those heavy penalties locally to deter them from being involved in narcotics trafficking that leads to the death of our children in the county.
Kevin, can you just take us through a quick picture of what the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration's Las Vegas office is like? Do you guys have enough resources to make a difference? What is the situation on your side? Like, are you guys limited in what you can do? I would love a further evaluation on that.
I don't believe that we are limited. I believe we have a strong coalition of law enforcement agencies along the federal, state, tribal levels. And I think we are making significant investigations. We have seized quite a bit of narcotics and made quite a bit of arrests. But as Roman alluded to, there's quite a bit of narcotics still pouring into the country across the border. So with the matter how much we've seen. So look at DEA.
So what's the biggest challenge then right now?
The biggest challenge is, number one, the addiction. I look at it, I praise it this way. It's hard to sell what no one wants to buy. Okay. And the cartels have plenty of customers. So that's the biggest problem, is the addiction that's driving the drug trade. Number two is us being able to work on an international level. We have to be able to work with the Mexican government to dismantle these organizations at the source and take down the plaza bosses. DEA has a very large international presence, so those are the main prongs to disrupt and dismantle the people that are in a command and control position with these drug trafficking organizations, as well as stem the drive, as well as to stem the addiction that we're seeing that's driving the trade.
Roman, so then let me just break this down. So what do you want people to do at this moment? Where can they go? How can they help? I think that's what everybody watching this is probably asking right now.
Well, and I'll let Troy allude to this. There are some deadlines because that's the way schools work in terms of curriculum and in terms of creating new curriculum. What we're excited about, though, is to be able to bring a legitimate, comprehensive, risk mitigating, flexible, and effective fentanyl education program that, frankly, once approved, which we have that opportunity, and the funds are raised, we can get it in within 2 to 3 weeks and start execution. And that means that, as Troy said, 133,000 students are going to learn about fentanyl. Administration and staff that are doing that are going to learn about fentanyl. Parents are going to get acknowledgement, information, and platforms to learn about fentanyl. And then, as Troy said, we're going to train Troy's volunteers that are already integrated in the schools in a very unique situation, because I've never worked with an organization that's actually working directly with principals, which is really exciting. So we have the opportunity to train his personnel and to get specific personnel into the Clark County system that will just be responsible for execution of this fentanyl program. So what we're asking from the community is if you have students in schools, you need to contact your schools and say, hey, we really want to see this program in our local schools. We also need to raise some money to do that, because currently we're looking for grant opportunities because we're both nonprofits. We can accept monies from people like some of your casinos out there that do a lot of benevolent work in the community to not only help the situation with the Clark County schools, but with their own employees and the people that are affected by it that come to your hotels and spend money, hundreds of millions of dollars throughout the year. So we need to raise an initial amount of $125,000 to pay for the program initially to come in, and then another $300,000 or so to pay for the total program for all of these 146 schools for 1 year, which would include the entire platform, the training for not only the schools, but for Dads in Schools programming and for the subsidiary programs that they're working with, as well as provide curriculum, provide content, provide online platforms for all of the staff and administration as the number one priority. The number two priority, to send home a letter to the parents to let them know that we're going to be educating their children in both English and a Spanish version, so we can take care of those that need understanding that way. And then number three, the actual execution to the students of these schools, so that we can begin to have the conversation that's so hard to have. And I know Kevin can speak to this. One of the biggest problems that we deal with in this space is stigma. We talked about this last time, that people are very uncomfortable talking about this verbally. So by creating a platform that people can learn about fentanyl easily and understandably in the privacy of their own home on their own devices, which then gives them the opportunity to send these links out to their friends, loved ones, co-workers. And then through our pledge program you see behind my right shoulder, we have the opportunity to get these pledge program posters that have the links to the fentanyl public program in casinos, in every corporate business, in law enforcement agencies, opioid task forces, and other subsidiary organizations that are concerned about this issue. So what we're talking about here isn't just a school dissemination system, which they're set up for perfectly because they have a computer system that can reach all of the people that are at risk, but also a public site that can be executed in so many different ways and iterations through things like PTA programs, after school programs, summer school programs, opioid task force relationships, law enforcement. I'm working with law enforcement agencies right now that are using this public fentanyl forum on their sites to get it out, not only for the help for their own people on the force, but also for the people who are subsidiary, like county people and others that deal with law enforcement at the local level, the state level, and the federal level. And I'm happy to say that the DEA has been very helpful for our organization in schools. We're getting ready to launch a program with them. They have the One Pill Kills program on the DEA site that we're going to make available on our site. This is a program that can be instituted easily in counties and in county departments. So we're talking about a total community approach, Chris. And so we're asking corporations, we're asking you as casino owners, we're asking people out there that are just parents that are concerned. They can go to soldouttv.com. They can go to the donate page and donate right now, as little as $5 or monthly or one-time gift or a corporate gift. And also they can contact Troy, which he'll give his information at Dads in Schools locally, because they're already in the schools. And we want those 146 schools and their parents to know that this program is being made available to the schools. So we really need your help financially, but we also need your help with volunteers, with your interest in making sure you're connecting with your community to let people know about this website. By going to soldouttv.com and hitting the fentanyl page, they can access the easy information. So there are a lot of ways to help here. We just have a deadline, though, because of the way schools work. Even though we have the agreement to be able to come in, we have to have this curriculum ready to go and everything ready to move forward by May 20th. And Troy can probably fill you in on that.
Noted. Troy, final comment, 30 seconds. Where do we go? How do we get here?
We need more volunteers to sign up at dadsinschools.com, be able to go into those schools and personally help protect them. They need to join, forces with Roman's program, which is now part of ours, which will educate them to recognize the signs, symptoms, and the insidious, trafficking of drugs that goes into our schools, and also to be able to speak to those parents directly and fill them in so that they're not naive or assuming that this is not a threat. It can, like we heard our DEA agent say, it can kill, and we do not want that to happen. We need a small army. The cartels have their army, but we have an army, and we're fighting back.
Yep. Right. So Roman, Troy, Kevin, thank you all for being here and doing the good work. And we wish you the best on this. And go to, what's the website again, Roman?
Go to soldouttv.com. You can click to get information on fentanyl at the top right of the page, or you can hit the donate button to help us in any way that you can to help your kids in Clark County.
Thank you all for being on CYInterview today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for watching today's CYInterview segment from Las Vegas. Please hit the like button and please hit the subscribe button to be updated on all future CYInterview content from Las Vegas and beyond.